Okay.
Wow, world of water. We're here today recording a podcast in weather that nationwide really is considered not very welcome by most. Some love snow, some don't. Some like cold weather, some don't. I don't. And there's other things that people like about the weather and the change of the weather, etc. But there's some things that nobody likes. And that's a challenge, especially if there's too much snow or ice or other things that are caused by some of these things as well. Just a simple question: if the power went out right now, if your faucet stopped working, if the roads were iced over, the stores were empty, and you were told boil your water, could you actually do it? Would you have any electricity or gas to actually boil the water? Would you have water to boil? Or would you be standing there thinking, poor thing, no one ever wants to say, I wish I had, meaning I wish I had prepared and done something about it. Because across the United States right now, as we speak, millions of people have been living that reality. Snowstorms, ice storms, grid failures, water treatment plants losing pressure, boil water advisories with no power to boil. Not a very good picture, is it? That's something that we sometimes don't think about. We are in the United States, we have it fairly well, typically speaking, with those things that we take for granted. But I just a few minutes ago was looking in Mississippi today. There's 1 inch of ice, and it showed a picture of one city that literally looked like and with the ice breaking the limbs, the tree limbs, and all the other, no electricity, and no way to tell how long it will be before they'll be able to have electricity back because of the situation. Very unusual in that part of the country to have it to that extent. But you never know what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. All you always need to be prepared, no matter what takes place. Always be prepared to say, "I'm ready," and not have to say, "I wish I had." So it's not hypothetical. It's not someday. It's this week. It's this month. It's been happening repeatedly. And we still have a fair amount of winter to go yet. So, and it's not always in the winter. There's tornadoes and hurricanes and other things as well in different times of the year. Some of them nearly the same time as well. Today, we're going to talk about how vulnerable we really are, why water is the first thing to fail, and how you can make sure that you and the people you care about never have to say, what was those 4 words? Oh yeah, I wish I had. No, you don't need to have to say that. So what's happening right now? Over the last few days and weeks, large portions of the U.S. have faced challenges, such as heavy snow and ice storms, as we mentioned. By the way, we had 10 inches here, and my son in southern Indiana had 16 inches. And then again, the ice in other parts of the country. And I talked to a friend of mine in Austin, Texas yesterday, and they had a large amount of ice as well. Can't go anywhere. A lot of the counties are completely what they call red code, where you're not supposed to get out at all, and quite a few orange code where you can actually get out in emergency. Otherwise, you better not be out either. Then the down power lines that happen because of this, the grid overloads and rolling outages, water systems losing pressure, water that flows to your home has to have electricity and other pumps and different things to get it there. So the water pressure loses pressure, and sometimes after a little while, doesn't really you can't really get much of any water out of it. And then again, the boil water advisories, it's almost a joke when you think about it. Well, the electricity is out, the water's not good. The only way you're supposed to drink water is boil it. Well, hello, what do you do there? But even while there is electricity, you can't boil much water at a time typically. So a lot of times you'll need a whole lot more and wish you had a whole lot more than what you would if you just were able to boil it. So when the grid goes down, pumps stop, treatment systems fail, pressure drops, and contaminants can enter the lines much easier with the fact of no way to actually process them properly. That's why people are told don't drink the water, or worse, there is no water because none is flowing. And then comes the cruel irony: boil your water again. That so doesn't make so much doesn't make any sense at all, does it? Not just some. But how do you boil water when the power's out, your gas lines are shut down, or you're trying to stay warm in freezing temperatures? I don't like I don't like when it's cold in the house either. I don't know how about you. Some people say they sleep where it's really cold. Others say they like it really warm. Part of that seems to sometimes, with some of us, depend on our age, of course. So that's not preparedness to just hope that everything's okay. That's vulnerability, and we don't want that. There's a major human impact when we have situations like this, and there's things we can do to take care of that, but we don't. It's just not top of mind so often. We've seen this before: families melting snow just to flush toilets, parents driving hours to find bottled water, only to find shelves empty. I went to a supermarket a, a few months ago and was going to go in before I had an appointment. When I pulled into the driveway of the supermarket, there was no lights on, and on the sign, on outside a sign, there was a sign on the door that said closed due to power outage. So they weren't even going to open. Even if they did have some water, I couldn't have gotten it if I needed it at that time, for example, because they wouldn't let you in, first of all, and if they did, they can't take your money because the cash registers aren't working. And if they did still let you do it, there's only a certain amount of water in there, then you'd have to be first to get much, if any, and that's not likely because they won't let you in to begin with. So elderly neighbors with no way to boil water or lift heavy cases. And that's another thing that I've had recently. Some people say to me, I'm getting up in years, they say, and I don't want to go to the store and lift a 12 pack or 24 pack of bottled water and haul it and put it in my trunk or wherever, have to unload it when I get home. A lot of different reasons. Everybody has different thoughts, different reasons, but the communities sharing what little clean water they have is another thing that sometimes doesn't go far enough at all. And it's always the same story afterward. I never thought it would happen here, or I assumed the system would work, or maybe I wish I had prepared. Water isn't a luxury. It's not optional. It's survival. You can go weeks without food. You can't go very long. In fact, you can only go a few days without water. And by the way, when you need food, almost always you have to have water to help process the food in some way, unless it's just raw and that's it, for example. So all of those things are parts to play in the fact of us not recognizing the significance of not having water or electricity or other things that we take for granted. So systemic vulnerability. This isn't about panic; it's about reality. Just everybody's vulnerable. For example, when you stop and think of it, our infrastructure is aging, and many say it's very stressed and weather dependent, grid dependent, and storms are storms are stronger. The temperature swings are more extreme, and the demand is higher than it's ever been. And when the electricity and water fail at the same time, people are left with no independent backup. Typically, preparedness used to mean flashlights and canned goods, maybe. Today, preparedness means independent access to clean water, even with no power, no running faucet, no stores, and no deliveries. That's quite a number of no whatevers. Then hope enters. Here's the good news: you don't have to worry about it if you really take care about it and you prepare yourself. The problem has a solution. Not someday, not for governments to work out and figure out for you, not just for disaster zones, every area of the country, really. can be a disaster zone. When I think of all the things again, such as tornadoes and all the other things we already mentioned as well. Imagine knowing that even if the power's out, even if the faucet is dry, even if the grid is down, you can still produce pure, safe drinking water every single day, not just for you, but for your neighbors, your family, your church, your community, up to 300 people per day from a simple gravity based system, no electricity required ever, no moving parts, no waiting. All you have to do is take the filter, find any type of water except salt water, no matter how dirty the water is. You can purify the water for you and up to 300 other people every single day. Or if you don't have that many that needs to be served, you're going to want more than just drinking water. This will produce up to 150 gallons per day. So that's enough to take care of all of your needs, plus others that you could help as well. In fact, one of the persons that purchased the system actually lives in a subdivision, and he made the decision. He said, if there's an emergency with this system, I can take care of my whole subdivision to have pure water as long as as long as the challenge lasts. I'm able to help them. So that's not fear. That's freedom. That's confidence. That's being able to look at a storm forecast and say, not necessarily I like it, but to say related to water, we're good. We have prepared and we are able. There's other things you can do, of course, as well. But the thing to have something immediately, to have no matter what type of water, to be able to purify it, is definitely something that really makes a difference. So it's beyond self. It's about helping others as well. Preparedness isn't selfishness. Preparedness is common sense. Preparedness is being able to say, I can help someone else beside myself. I am prepared. And those that are waiting for help, those who need help, I'm prepared to be able to not only take care of what I need and my children need, my family needs, but all of those that I have in reach that I care about, I have a way to help them. And this is one of the things that we're trying to do. And sometimes you say, well, you repeat some things. Yes, that does make sense, doesn't it? Because a lot of times what I found, you have to hear it more than once. In fact, one of the persons that purchased one of our safer, cleaner water systems, he one day was on a call with me. And he said, "Mark, I've heard you talk 7 different times about being prepared for pure water, and that I should have one of your systems. Let me go ahead and do it while I'm thinking about it." A lot of us, it's not top of mind. So what we have to do is make sure that we make it top of mind before we have to say, what were those 4 words again? I wish I had. Is that what it was? So I'll leave you with this. One day, whether it's a storm, a grid failure, or something unexpected, you'll either say, I wish I had, or I'm glad I did. I want you and everyone you care about to say, I'm glad I did. That's a lot better than the other 4 words. Glad you prepared, glad you didn't wait, glad you could help others, glad you had water every day for life. By the way, the filter is guaranteed for life. You never have to buy another filter because you can backwash it with the pure water it creates and actually do it again and again. And it's not because it starts not making pure water. Pure water always comes out, but it's a gravity flow. So all you have to do, if it starts slowing down as far as the flow, you just take some of the pure water it created, turn it around, backwash it very simply, turn it back around and use it again for life every day. And you don't have to do that very often. The backwash, that's just every once in a great while, depending on the quality of your water. So it's dignity, it's peace of mind, it's love and action, it's being prepared. Means you never have to wish. You're already ready. And if this resonates with you, don't ignore it. Preparation and being prepared is not fear, it's wisdom. Be ready, be confident, be the one who can say, I'm glad I did. And the thing that also relates to that, what we find, we have ways to help everyone that you care about. All you have to say is these are the ones that I care about, my friends, my family, my loved ones, my church, my homeless shelter, etc. Any of those that you can think of. All you have to do is for every one that you purchase, you can purchase one and say, I want it to go to this address. So all you have to do is give us the names of those that you want to, names or entities that you want to receive the filter, give us their shipping address, and we take care of everything else. Within 7 to 14 days, they have a water filtration system that they can help up to 300 people for life, and them as well, no matter what comes or goes. And now they can help others and them to be prepared at all times. And you did something to make that possible. You can do it through safercleanerwater.com, or there's also UA Legacy Grants, uagrant.com. But the typical thing that's easiest for you to do is to just go to safercleanerwater.com. You'll see a link in this area of the podcast, and just go ahead and click that link and make a difference in your life and make a difference in others that you know. A lot of them will never think about it at the right time. Think about it because you know. Think about it ahead of time and go ahead and do something for them. Surprise them. Give them a gift. It doesn't matter whether it's January or February or December, whatever month it is. People love a gift, and you can actually give one. And one of the most important things you could do for somebody is make sure that you, them, their children, your loved ones, your father, your mother, again, synagogue, church, homeless shelter, everybody you know, why don't you do something to help somebody else? And especially when we think of it in this time, if you just, whenever you hear this, you can always go back and think about either something going on now, or it has been in the past, or it will be in the future. And preparedness is logical and releases a lot of good feelings and takes away a lot of the fear, because you said, I'm glad I did, instead of I wish I had.